Neuroeducation has provided us with new approaches towards teaching learning processes to leave traditional techniques behind and bet for real change in education. Regarding to this, understanding how our brain works provides us with the tools for obtaining the desired effects for more effective teaching practice, which will ensure more motivating experiences and permanent knowledge for our students. Throughout this presentation, we will point out varied approaches and theories about memory processes, and we will deepen into concepts such as short-term memory, long-term memory, and working memory, as their importance in learning. Moreover, in the following articulated text, you can read a synthesis of Ebbinghaus' contribution will be shown, and to conclude we will mention some instructions to obtain our students' lifelong knowledge and how to implement the most efficient practice in class by means of basing our programming on our students' previous knowledge and awakening their curiosity and attention, carefully planning motivating dynamics, which will be suggested in the following lines. Throughout the history of education, many have been educated with a strong belief that there is no pain, there is no gain. To our delight, pain and repetition and passivity have been displaced by more innovative techniques to develop our students' capacities throughout reflection and action. Neurodidactics has highlighted the importance of meaningful learning based on learning by doing and awakening curiosity among our students. Moreover, learning is linked to emotion, and it must be connected to previous experiences or charged with emotional value to enhance memory and learning. Many have been the researchers who have postulated about memory, such as Ebbinghaus or Lechley, Pavlov, Skinner, Thorndike, and Watson. William James distinguished between primary memory, immediate and transitory, and secondary memory, long-term or permanent, and later multi-story theory emerged according to which three types of memory are differentiated, such as sensory memory, where stimuli that we receive in our sensory organs have a short duration and we will only store those that capture our attention and are meaningful to us. Then we have short-term memory and long-term memory. Short-term memory is the prelude to long-term memory, as we can keep a limited quantity of information for a short time that will be discarded or sent to the long-term memory depending on its relevance. Thus, short-term memory has an essential role in the reading and listening comprehensions, since remembering the beginning of a text will help us understand the following information. Though our brain uses different areas for short-term and long-term memory, in cases where the areas involved in short-term memory are affected, long-term memory can remain intact. Milner's research classifies the phases of memory into three. The first one is coding the information, for which the individual's concentration, attention, motivation are essential. This will be followed by information storage and retrieval. Within long-term memory, we will distinguish between explicit or declarative memory and implicit or procedural memory. In long-term memory, conscious memories pass from the prefrontal cortex, and the hippocampus will help transform them into long-term memory. Explicit memory helps us to incorporate objective knowledge in a conscious way. It is subclassified into semantic memory, which can be verbalized and whose function is to store general facts and knowledge of the outside world and its meaning. An episodic memory, which treasures our personal experiences. Thus, semantic memory allows us to remember our home address or your child's first day of school, for example. Implicit memory is the one in which learning happens unconsciously, for instance when we write with a pencil, walk, or wash our faces in the morning. In this type of memory, the hippocampus, or the medial region of the temporal lobe, does not intervene, but the striatum, the amygdala, or the cerebellum do. Working memory is a type of short-term memory in which the prefrontal cortex is activated to retain some information for a short period. It is developed during childhood, and it is closely related to students' academic performance, reflection, and problem solving. It is fundamental for the understanding of linguistic information, emotion, regulation, behavior, and any other situation that requires rearrangement and mental manipulation of the information, for the establishment of cause-effect relationships as well. Likewise, working memory is essential in the development of reading and mathematical competence, and variables related to academic success should be studied, being essential in these skills of great importance for children's development inside and outside their schools. Hermann Ebbinghaus carried out significant memory experiments in terms of retention and obeisance according to the number of repetitions and the passage of time, and revealed that forgetting information can occur between short intervals, and it increases within time in more elevated proportions. At the beginning, and slower time draws on during the first week, and from there, even slower. Ebbinghaus demonstrated that 75% of what we had learned is forgotten after 48 hours, and identified a number of factors that could delay forgetting, such as the relationship with the previous content, the format in which the information is presented, the attention given, the level of rest, the studying intervals, and the way in which stimuli are presented to us and how they are forgotten over time. This theory is also supported by Bloom, who defends the decay theory, which holds that the reason why we forget certain information is because it is not used, and what we do not use disappears from our brain. How could we avoid forgetting what we have learned? By designing our teaching work to guide students towards reviewing and putting information learned into practice. Thus, they will use information learned in different ways, for example, through various dynamics in which they have to use what they have learned, group work exercises in which they deal with the learned structures, or individual work through diagrams, summaries, concept maps, etc. And how much and when we should review this information. With the first review after 24 hours and intermediate reviews between days 7 and 15 from the first apprenticeship, and a final review prior to the memory test or exam. According to Ebbinghaus' study, 50% of the information is lost within 24 hours, so we should use it again on the same day and the next day. What helps me to study and fix knowledge properly? Considering it all, we must develop certain techniques and strategies that in general we could synthesize as follows. Building on previous knowledge for easily made logical connections. Choose the time of the day to study. According to the difference theory of Jenkins and Dallenbach, the optimal moment to fix knowledge would be before sleeping, since there are no more activities afterwards. However, the brain is sensitive to mood, so it is also important to consider if we are owls or with greater capacity for concentration in the late afternoon, evening, or larks if we are more productive in the early hours of the morning. Periodicity of the review. We establish an appropriate review routine with the first review within the first 24 hours of learning, and with intermediate reviews between the week, after 7 days and 15 days, and another before the memory test or exam. Then you can also use mnemonic rules to remember data, sequences, or sequence structures in a new language by relating information to images, words, and symbols. The usefulness given to knowledge improves learning. It is essential to give it a practical use. Thus, for example, to the use of role-play, simulating real and motivating situations will be an incentive to open them to this learning. Visualization and attitude. Emotions are an essential factor, and having a positive attitude visualizing success will help us to open our minds to new concepts more easily. Research on the functioning of our brain has provided us with greater understanding of memory and learning processes. The contributions of neuroeducation have multiple benefits for our students, and teaching must be based on the formation of mechanisms of our brain in the learning processes to activate our students' prefrontal cortex, through surprise and store information in their long term memory, as well as promoting their attention and motivation through active participation in a positive and conscious learning environment, based on which we can obtain relevant experiences and lasting knowledge. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed.